On this episode of Soul Travel, we'll go explore San Diego Comic-Con by transit. For me, I'm always excited every year to get to go to San Diego Comic-Con and explore SoCal by transit. For me, I like to go on Amtrak Pacific Surfliner, which I did the last 2 years. But for me, I get able to go stay at my parents' house in Vista, northern San Diego County, and then also get my friends also able to stay in hotels in downtown San Diego. So for me, come along with me in my little trusty little herd here to see how it was for exploring San Diego Comic-Con and San Diego by transit here on Soul Travel. So for me, I am dressed this year as Nate from Pokemon Black and White 2. Things is not very evenly, I think, but for there, I'm dressed as Nate from Pokemon Black and White 2, which is based in Unova region, which you can find little herdier here as well, which you can find in the wild. They're dressed with a navy blue sweater, which has which has the sleeve cut off to t-shirt length, blue undershirt, and then red visor with a Pokeball on there. So signifying as a Pokemon trainer. So for there, I got to go ready to go. For there, for me, I took down from Anaheim, which I'm based in from there, from here in Anaheim, and then took to Oceanside. For there, it took about $20, and my parents would pick me up, and we got to go to San Diego. One of my friends who got to go to San Diego Comic-Con, who lives out of state, he actually was able to get a room block at one of the hotels there in downtown. So for him, for the hotels in downtown with the group block, you can just simply walk to the convention center and all the events happening around downtown, and take in all of the media madness right outside your window. And especially if your room is also blocked by ads, so many ads. But for there, at least it was $331 for the marquee, so it was still pretty good, but I had to commit for all 4 nights, with it pretty much all being all deposit down there. However, if you stay when hotels are a bit farther away from downtown, they do have shuttle routes there as well that's free for all badge holders. So pretty much you can just go to the shuttles, the hotels by San Diego International Airport, and the Marina towards the west on there, and then Hotel Circle in Mission Valley, especially for the routes that are not connected by the San Diego Trolley. Farther away and you have a car, then you can enter in for a raffle there as well to get ace parking managed lots there as well on a lottery basis. For there, most likely you will not get it, and especially parking sucks anyways because traffic. Tons and tons of foot traffic. It's the worst time to drive there, for sure in downtown, but I was just there for a Padres game and it still sucked anyways, so take your poison and go with it. But for there, if you want to go by transit, you can go there by San Diego Trolley. For San Diego Trolley, they do have a wide connection around there to the San Diego metro area. For there, with San Diego Metropolitan Transit System, with their extensive networks of bus, light rail, and fixed route bus routes, rapid limit stop bus services, and trolley light rail system, which connects throughout the whole system there. If you're lucky, you can go there and get there by transit, and also if you're there at 8 a.m. each day, you can get one of their trolley banks. That's pretty cool, but thankfully for me, I was not there at 8. Unfortunately, I was not there at 8 a.m. But at least for there, you can at least get it from the from the transit store at 12 in Imperial. However, you had to buy $10 worth of merchandise, which I did. Actually, she gave it for free because I was going to the convention. So yay, thank you to the MTS store staff. In one of the live streams for San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog, the Director of Marketing and Communications with SDMTS, Mark Olson, shared his work with preparation for Comic-Con. It is, a lot. And especially for there, nobody can take a day off. Literally nobody. Because you gotta take all buses and light rails operators are on full force to make sure that all the bus and trolleys are in force. Especially for there is the special event line that goes from Balboa Avenue to 12th and Imperial via the green and blue lines. So for there is also tons of wrapped trolleys there as well that do have ads on these, like this one does for Mario Kart World and Nintendo. So a lot of them do have ads specifically for all the Comic-Con vendors, and especially about 45 or 165 trolleys were wrapped for then. So if you're looking on the orange and blue line, and none of them were wrapped on there. Advertising wraps take about roughly 6 hours to apply for overnight for each car, and especially they work with Clear Channel Outdoor to size up for the ads for the trolleys and to be wrapped on there. Buses are typically not wrapped with ads, or this could be wrapped with ads or with the banner, but not typically for advertising for Comic-Con, since it's not center stage for the convention center, especially for the 9. However, for the 992 bus, which goes from the San Diego International Airport to downtown, attendees can see when the buses are wrapped on there. Since they are going to Comic-Con, for the most part, they're doing that, but of course, the one I saw did not have ads on it. Oh well. So for a lot of the trolley stops they do have is parking at their garages and parking lots. However, be aware that there is, of course, so many parking, and especially that for parking, well, it's free if you take trolley, but of course, and just go in the blink of an eye. So for just make sure to find a lot that does have parking. One of them that did have it was at the stadium station, which is for Snapdragon Stadium. But of course, San Diego FC had to play a game on a Friday, so they couldn't do Comic-Con parking then. So you can only do so much for those kind of scenarios there. For residents in northern San Diego County, like I stay with my parents, you can get to downtown San Diego with SDMTS's Rapid Limited Stop line, which rated with its rapid of 2:35, which goes from Escondido to downtown San Diego for an hour-and-a-half bus ride for only $2.50 fare. The rapid routes use articulated New Flyer Excelsior 60-foot transit coaches, which are nicely padded and reclined for an hour-and-a-half bus ride. Weekdays are every 15 minutes, while weekends are every 30 minutes. There's also an express route of 280 with one intermediate stop from Escondido to downtown using MCI Motorcoaches for a $5 fare on weekday commute peak times. North County Transit District, or NCTD for short, is a transit system that covers from north of San Diego County city limits to Orange County line, has the Breeze fixed bus routes, coaster commuter train service from Oceanside to San Diego on long I-5, and a Sprinter train service from Oceanside to Escondido. Of North San Diego County residents can get to downtown San Diego via Breeze bus routes that feed passengers to from their neighborhoods to the Sprinter station. Then take the Sprinter west to the coaster to get to downtown, or Escondido for SDMTS for 6 on the SDMTS 235 to downtown. If you take the coaster, it's about $6.50 versus $2.50. So it depends if that $4 is very valuable for you on there. Then you get half an hour less, more time on there. That's one thing to think about. When it took the coaster, departure was timed perfectly for us who arrived on by Sprinter and with seamless transfer to the coaster, with a total transit time about an hour and a half. The coaster is always packed during San Diego Comic-Con with attendees along with commuters and leisure visitors. When it took SDMTS 235 on my last trip back in February, the Rapid 235 was waiting for us when we took off when we exited off the Sprinter and we got on for a seamless transfer. Total transit time was about 2 hours if there weren't any traffic issues. Getting back, the 235 bus was 10 minutes late and I missed my scheduled transfer for the Sprinter. Thankfully, the weekday Sprinter was every 30 minutes and weekdays on weekdays and middays, and early mornings and evenings on the weekends were every hour. So thankfully, either way, I would be covered there. And lastly, what I did for the last 2 years was take Amtrak Pacific Surfliner. Especially if you're priced out of San Diego County or just couldn't find a room in general in the Comic-Con room block, then you just book a hotel in Orange County or Los Angeles, and just commute in by Amtrak Pacific Surfliner like did the last 2 years. Unlike commuter-based service schedule for NCTD, Amtrak Pacific Surfliner is an intercity service, with service from San Diego to Los Angeles on every day, along with some trains going to Santa Barbara and or San Luis Obispo. Surfliner has tons of amenities such as seats with outlets at each row, reclining seats, tray tables, luggage hold areas, overhead storage, and a cafe car with snacks and drinks, which Metrolink which goes from LA to Orange County, LA to Oceanside, and then also NCTD coaster does not have. So for there, it does take about 2 hours each way, costing $30 per person per way. Just don't overload on exhibit purchases. It will just be a lot of items to haul around. So for there, it is always a great experience to go explore Southern California by transit, and especially on annual convention like this, where driving is not the best option to do, and always taking transit is usually the best option to do. And that's what I love about San Diego Comic-Con. Thank you for watching here on Ansel Travel.